chosen to do something very difficult today, and that is to share something that is deeply, deeply personal, giving of yourselves in a generous, very generous way. And I would love for you to share a little bit about why you chose to do that, because not everybody will. Go ahead.
Thanks, Tania. I think that Jen's story, in my story, it's mine too, right? Is a story that, if any, just one person in this room benefits from that story in any way, shape, or form, then Jen's legacy lives on. She's here with me right now. She's here with all of us. She's watching, I'm sure, but she wishes she could be here, I'm sure. But more importantly, it's what we do with the time that we have. And she would want me to be here. She would want me to be talking about her. She would want me to maybe not share that one baby picture. The story matters. All of our stories matter. And if we don't share them, then we can't learn from them.
Yeah. Thank you, Helen. Appreciate that.
For me, I just remember what it's like to not really know next steps, to know what you're doing or who you're talked to, where to go. And I think that if Gianni's being the tough case that he is, if he's found success, then I mean, there's a lot of options out there, and I want people to kind of live on his success.
So we have seen today through both those stories what's possible, and it kind of renews your belief in what's possible for anyone. In both your stories, you referenced the power of community, both the power of being a part of the art community, but also the power of our larger community, inside and outside of the art, right? Can you talk a bit more about why community is so critical? And then I'd love to hear if you have any ideas about how our audience can really help to create the kind of community, that sense of community for people with IDD to feel like they really belong.
Well, I think the art community is integral to the success of, certainly was the key element in Jen's success. There's no doubt about that. And being a part of the art community meant that I got to meet other people whose children were just like mine, whose parenting, I mean, I'm a parent, right? So they're a parent, you're a parent. So you can get to know that from the art community, from the larger community perspective. It's so important to be a part of that community in such a real way. Jen was 44 when she passed away. So we were back in the day when she was ignored, constantly ignored out in the community, because sometimes I think it's you don't know what you don't know. But back then, there wasn't the acceptance. I think made a little bit of progress in that regard. What can this community do? And that is to do total and complete acceptance, not tolerance, not tolerance. It's acceptance. It's acceptance. Walk up to anyone that you see on the street that you think might be, look a little different, be a little different, act a little different. So what? Walk up to them, say hi. Don't have to shake their hand if you don't want to, but please say hi, engage. You never know what's on the other side. You never know what's on the other side. Right?
It's so true. People don't want to be invisible.
No, none of us do. I don't think
They Tanya?
There's a lot of times where you feel so isolated and like the only person experiencing what you're experiencing, and that might be true just in a smaller world context, but you're never truly alone. And I believe, as I said before, I'm a Christian, and I love the people that God put in my life and in my path because of this, specifically through this journey that I didn't necessarily choose, but I love the people that I've met, and I would not have met them had we not come around this way. There's something powerful to say about beefing up your side of the table when you get with an advocate, and you can just accomplish a lot more. You can be a fully resourced and know what you're doing. And I'm an expert in Gianni, but it would take me a lifetime to come up with the knowledge that the staff at the ARC and programs that they promote would allow me access to. So it's just an incredible resource. It's very valuable.
I hear your confidence grew as a result of finding those magic words, learning how to speak to get what Joni needed done. Is that accurate?
It is accurate. I realized that it's not about sides, you know, it's not like one system after the other and we're trying to see who will win, or everyone is on the same page. It's just, how do we set up an environment that's safe? And I mean, once you find those conclusions, everyone that follows behind has somewhere to go. So I feel like Gianna's paved the way in a lot of ways. Because for us, autism was brand new when we first heard, and now adult autism is brand new. Everything is brand new for us all along the way. But you can find the frazzled parent, or you can find the parent that is just knocking it out of the park, and you can exchange resources and you can exchange stories, and you can just create this strong sense of like, hey, you know, we can do this. We've got creativity on our side.
Beautiful. I thought Jeannie did a beautiful job when she spoke about daring to dream and not losing dreams and still striving for dreams always. There's another side to that we talk about in the disability world frequently. And it's about allowing people the right to the dignity of risk. And it's something we all deserve. And so I thought it would be interesting to hear from you about how you see those two things working together in the lives of people with IDD, both the daring to dream and the dignity of risk.
You want me to go first again?
I'll take this.
Go ahead. You go first this time.
Thank you. Before Gianni was diagnosed, I took a trip to the Sunrise program in Massachusetts. And I remember I was just really trying to like, what's working and how do I fix this and how do I change this? And I was just really about how to make the future look like I pictured it before. And I remember a leader talking to me and saying, you know, if you invested all of your time and money and energy and talent, everything you have into these changes and fixing Gianni, and he's exactly the same in 10 years, would you love him any less? And absolutely not. It just stopped me in my tracks. And so he said, why are you missing the now to fix the later? And I'm so grateful that even before I was diagnosed, I got that word of wisdom from him. I'm not trying to fix Gianni, I'm trying to create a safe place for him to be who he is. And so when I say that Gianni deserves the right to his best life, I mean that he also gets the opportunity to choose the hard things, that as parents we can be his constant, and the things that he thrives in and the things that he decides this is not working out. So we get to be there.
Do it all.
Helen?
Jen taught me a lot of lessons over the years. I think a fairly good one would be when she was able to move out for a period of time to a host home, and it didn't work out, and she needed to move back home, and she really did not want to get. But she came to that decision on her own that was the best alternative, if you will, for at that moment in time, with a promise from me that she wouldn't have to stay.
She really did exact that promise
Yes.
from her mother.
Yes.
I want to tell you that's true.
Yes, and in front of a whole bunch of other people,
Yes.
so I could renege even if I wanted to.
I'm gonna come home, but I'm not staying.
So when she got home, I think there was a measure of feeling like perhaps she failed, and she's very quiet, and you know, a little despondent, I guess, maybe depressed. I'm not sure what the right word would be. It's one of those D words, but anyway. We were sitting next to each other in our chairs in the living room one evening, and she turns to me and she looks at me and she says, "Okay, I'm ready." And I said, ready for what? Which I love that, I'm ready to go to bed. No, she was ready to move out again. She wanted to move. She just didn't, told me, I just don't want to go back there. I don't want to go back to that kind of situation. She didn't say situation.
It was the wrong fit for
It
her.
was the wrong fit for her. It was as simple as that. And she backed, but she was ready to go again. And she would have. It's the risk. It's risk, and yet there's the reward. She got to live independently without her mom for a little bit. That particular situation didn't work. We'll try again. We'll try it some other day.
Yeah, it didn't squash her desire
No.
to want to live
No.
independently.
Nope. Nope,
She
not
said,
at all.
okay, now I've learned what I don't want. I'm ready to find what I do want,
Yep.
and it's now. It's-
Yeah, when can we meet with the people that can do this for me now?
Last question from me, and then we'll see if there are a couple in the audience. If you could wave a magic wand and change one thing for people with IDD immediately, what would you change?
I think that magic wand would have to be pretty big, but I think that I always said before acceptance and not tolerance. We all are, every one of us are different. Everybody's got some kind of an ability or disability, and you don't know if you don't ask. You don't know if you don't take that opportunity to get to know that person that's sitting across the table from you, or on a bus sitting next to you, or any of those kind of situations. So I would ask to have everyone, not just people with IDD, everyone welcomed with open arms, and just ask the question, how are you today? What's going on in your life?
That's the community we want to live in.
Yes, it's the community we want to live in.
I'm gonna keep looking for that magic wand, but in the meantime, we're gonna just keep working.
Keep
on it.
working on it, yep. Tanya?
I believe if neurodiversity was more mainstream, that our loved ones would not have to be excluded because of their behavior anymore. So everyone would say, oh yeah, I remember this happening, just a lot more experience. So then we could take these little dreams that we boxed up with the diagnosis and put up on a shelf and start to take them down to that gym.
Because our community is here for everyone. Absolutely, and we continue to work to make it more inclusive every single day. So, those are all the questions I have. I'd love to know if anyone in the audience has a question.
Hi, this question is for both of you. As a parent, if you had a time machine, and you could get in that time machine and go back and talk to your younger self about the diagnosis when you first became involved with IDD, so what would you tell yourself?
I'm gonna go first on this one, because I would have gotten involved with the art back in Buffalo, New York, which is where we're from, and stayed involved with them before I moved here, 20 years later. The end. Seriously.
I did not.
She did not.
Thank you for that.
No, she did not. She did not know.
I would tell myself to take that chip off of my shoulder. I would, because we're very protective of our kids.
Yeah.
And we're hurt, and they're hurt, and their hurt can look like confused or just not wanting to be somewhere, and that's painful to see. So if I wasn't just kind of wasting a lot of time, like, what did they say? Are they looking at art? I could just enjoy, whatever G did. He's happy. I mean, even when oh no, this didn't go well, he was laughing when he jumped off that bus. He thought it was hilarious. That's the best thing. He went to this first program and he helped me relate. This kid is not worried about the same thing I am. So if we can kind of learn from our kids that innocence that they have to not take on the world and just take that chip off, I would have done that day one and saved a lot of gray hairs and wrinkles and heart.
What she said, ditto.
Yeah. What I hear when I listen to both of you is trust that it's okay to step away and bringing someone you trust. And that you need to allow yourself that privilege of restoring yourself in order to be that best care provider that you can possibly be.
Yes, an empty cup will not do you
Right.
well. You need to fill your vessel in order to overflow, and then it's just easier.
Do we have one final question?
I am, first of all, I second the nice gal in the front row who just said the stories are wonderful. Thank you. I took notes, and Helen, I quoted you on something. And it said, our stories matter. All of our stories matter. If we can't share them, we can't learn from them. And it reminds me of a Jan Wilkins quote that says, there's power in knowing my struggle is yours and yours not. And I believe that, and I love the stories for tonight because I think they're powerful. Curious from the two of you and Lori, what would you encourage those of us out here who have stories to share? How we share them and where we share them, so that we have that connection of knowing the power that my struggle is yours and yours is mine. And we find those opportunities to share the stories so we can learn them.
So if there's someone in your life who has intellectual development disabilities, let me give you Lori's phone number. Seriously, and I mean that sincerely, because the more stories the ARC has to share, and they're all different, right? The more educated the community will become about what this world is all about. But there's another part of that, right? Of course, there's lots of folks here in this room that don't have IDD and or autism or lots of other words that we've heard in relationship with this world of individuals or people with IDD, and it's sharing, it's talking to each other. It's just opening up. I think the pandemic did a disservice to all of us when it comes to talking to people and learning. You can't really get to know somebody on Zoom very well. You just can't. And so reach out and tell your story and ask them for their story. And you just never know what's on the other side. What that story will bring to you in that moment in time.
It seems to me like you felt a personal charge to do something. So now keep your eyes open when you're in your community or around someone and you see, again, a struggle or a thriving, something that you admire about somebody or someone that can use kind of to pick me up and approach them. If you don't have a community, find one. If you can't find one near you, create one. I cannot stress the importance about how we're designed to be connected. That human connection is invaluable when it comes to just sharing quality of life. So don't isolate yourself. Look and see the opportunity. Hi, I'm so-and-so, and offer yourself and exchange phone numbers. And start with that storytelling back and forth. Resources, you know what, my son did that too. Where did you go? What about this? Or how in the world did you where'd you find that sticker? Or, I mean, just keep your eyes open because there's a huge hidden group that kind of hide their loved ones because they don't have, they're not up for it. They're not up for being in the community. They're not up for being approached or stared at, or they're not brave enough today, and that's fine. So because you feel that personal pull, I would just encourage you to really create something.
It would be really hard to top anything that's been offered. I will just share that the ARC continues to work hard to get stories, collect stories, get stories in front of people, have wonderful and brave people share their own stories, because that's when that's most powerful. You'll see articles in our newsletter, you'll see information that comes out in other ways. If you're out in the community and you want to invite people to the event that you just got a picnic invitation, and you said, oh, I'm gonna go, oh, I know somebody who also might like to go. We should invite them. So I would encourage you to extend your network and help introduce them to our community, because we'll be here first to end of life. I want to thank both of these wonderful moms for sharing so deeply and so personally with us. And now, Mr. Rob Smariga. Rob?
Tania, Helen, my friend, thank you both for sharing your stories with us in such a courageous, honest, and joyful way. I'm Rob Smariga. I have served on the board of directors since 2016, and I'm currently serving as board chair. Too many people in our community don't have the voice or the choice for full participation in our society. If art exists to give individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, individuals like Gianni and Jimmy, that voice and choice in their lives. That's why I'm involved in this organization. We've heard personal stories here so far tonight. I want to take a few minutes and connect larger issues in our society with this organization. We have an affordable housing crisis that particularly affects individuals with IDD who want to live independently. Helen talked about Jen's effort. She had to go through 2 stops before she found the appropriate home. Our staff will spend that time with individuals who want to reach that independence, and that's a months-long endeavor sometimes, whatever it takes. When we think about the criminal justice system, individuals with IDD are more likely to experience victimization and to be arrested.
Christ.
And in that experience, they are often they are dealing with other parties who don't understand their behavior, don't know how to react if their method of communication is yelling. So they are partners with local law enforcement, conducting crisis intervention training, so that those sorts of interventions, those sorts of situations can be handled more effectively and peacefully. The ARC is also a partner in Porchlight Family Justice Center here in Jefferson County. Porchlight exists to provide comprehensive survivor and victim services. And ARC staff are in that center every day of the week. So an individual with the IDD coming in for help has someone in the center who understands them, understands their particular needs, and can help guide them to other resources in the center. And we've talked some about the education system. Tania talked about her IEP meeting with the school. Too often, families are having to struggle for their child to have a welcoming classroom that meets the students' needs and capabilities. And staffing shortages in schools are only exacerbating the situation now. Our staff work with parents, teach parents how to be advocates for themselves with the school system. Here's the ask. There's 17,000 individuals with IDD in Jefferson, 13th, and Bilton counties that this organization serves. This year, we will reach 1,000 of them with support. It's a tremendous gap and tremendous unmet need. We don't get any government funding. We rely entirely on private sources. We are quite fortunate to have the Arts Thrift Store organization support this mission. And that covers a lot of baseline activity for us. But a long way to go to reach that 17,000. So tonight, You can be that magic wand. If you are impacted tonight by what you've heard, if you were inspired, you have a donation form and envelope with your program. We've got QR codes for credit card donations. We need help in this mission. If you're inspired tonight to give your time and get involved, I'm colorblind, but this insert has a form that you can fill out to express an interest in helping us out with your time. It's been wonderful spending this evening with you. Thanks so much for coming out tonight. Look forward to seeing you in the lobby.